Hey guys, it's a nooner video. Let me move the camera a little bit. Sorry, the mic's not hooked up, so I'm just using the camera mic. This is going to be just more of a talk to you guys. You know, every once in a while when I try to make some videos, I try to capture the feeling of being a Star Wars fan growing up in the original era. That way, hopefully, maybe years from now, I passed on or moved on, or just, you know, 100 years from now, maybe there'll be a record of people, hey, this is the word of people that grew up in Star Wars and what it was like. It's hard to really get how exciting it was just to see something Star Wars growing up. I mean, really before, you know, we were hammered with videotapes of it and everything. But this is something I just wanted to kind of talk about. The fight between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, which we learned in '83 was named Anakin Skywalker. I can remember around before Empire, so probably, you know, 78, 79, 77. I didn't read the novel, but my brother may have and other friends may have. And we knew Darth Vader got into a fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi. We didn't know the history of Vader at the time. We knew there was some kind of a fight that took place. And I don't know if it was Lucas interviews or just reading books or just talking back and forth. We knew there was a volcano involved. And for a kid growing up at that time period, it rattled your head. You pictured Darth Vader, Obi-Wan. You knew he was going to be a little younger, but you still pictured Obi-Wan. And then fighting. I can remember thinking, you know, the classic view of a volcano. You know, like when you think volcano. And I was in my mind, they were on the edge. They were fighting with their lightsabers. And somehow Vader fell into the volcano. And I was like, how did he get out of the volcano? He fell into the lava. Wouldn't he be dead? You know, I didn't think about lava planet, which we came to know with the movies and everything. But I can remember, you know, thinking about that. Like, me and my brother are talking about it. We used to talk about Star Wars a lot. And he was like, what do you think happened? Who do you know, how do you think he fell in the volcano? What do you think got him out of the volcano? Or how did he get out? And it was an amazing time. That's what I really loved about the original Star Wars, or the original trilogy. You know, I love a lot of the stuff now, even the prequels, but everything is just so explained. You know, there's novels, there's comic books. This background character's got this story. There's a, you know, a website explains it all, a dictionary, and it just takes the fun out of it. That's what I liked about, you know, you saw Star Wars, you was thrown in the middle of an adventure. I can remember Obi-Wan talking about the Clone Wars, and you're like, what is the Clone Wars? Does it have something to do with clones? Or is that just a name? Maybe clone something else, you know, maybe it means something else. And being all excited and debating with friends what the Clone Wars means, and I kind of like not knowing. You know, now we know what the Clone War is. It was a cartoon. And it was better when, in a way, you know, even not knocking people that's into the Clone Wars cartoon or seeing the Clone Wars, but just not knowing and kind of making up your own rich history there of what the Clone Wars was. But I always knew, even, you know, back in the early 80s, that we would get the Clone Wars one day with the prequels Lucas kept talking about. But getting back to the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, and I can remember, you know, in the 80s or 83, when we found out for sure, after we got it confirmed that Vader was Anakin Skywalker, that he was Luke's father, and that brought up a whole new thing, is Obi-Wan fighting. No longer when I picture the fight in my head, you know, before that I pictured him fighting Darth Vader on a volcano with the lightsaber, I mean with the Darth Vader uniform, you know, and the red lightsaber. But once Jedi came out, it started changing my mind of that fight, trying to picture that fight in my head again, on top of a volcano, on the edge of a hole, fighting each other, like, again, a classic look of a volcano. But this time, in my head, I would picture a younger Anakin Skywalker, a younger Obi-Wan fighting each other. It was just a lot of the imagination of, man, I could not wait for that fight. And we had to wait. You know, it was 16 years between Jedi and the Phantom Menace, but even then we didn't get that fight that we heard so much about. It was another 6 years, 6 years of 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, about 22 years. Can you imagine that? Had to wait 22 years to find out. And I know a lot of people were disappointed. Now, out of the prequel films, the Revenge of the Sith is probably the most well received. It's probably the Empire of the three. But still, when you compare it to the original trilogy movies, it doesn't hold up that good. At least for me, and I know a lot of other people. But I don't think it's really their fault, or Lucas's fault, because 22 years of talking about this fight, 22 years of picturing this fight in your head, 22 years of debating the fight, 22 years of, you know, just making up what you think is going to happen, or where the fight's even going to take place, even a little small detail, and then you go in, finally you see it, and you're like, this is the fight they hyped me up for 22 years about, which is a good fight, don't get me wrong, but there's no winning there. There's no winning from Lucas. It's the same thing with the prequels overall. You know, waited 16 years to see these prequels we kept being promised, and I keep saying 22 years, but longer than that when you go back to 77 when we started hearing about the volcano and everything. So the prequel is just kind of hard to live up that hype. But I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys didn't hear about the volcano, or maybe you didn't debate it with your friends. But I'm curious. I mean, I could not wait to see this fight put on film. I couldn't wait to see the Clone Wars, and then in the movies we didn't hardly even get it, which was kind of disappointing. But I could not wait to see this fight that I heard so much about. Like I said, for over 20 years I pictured this fight in my head. I remember writing a story about it. I loved to write back then. I wrote out my whole story, how the fight took place and everything. I can remember debating with my friends. I can remember getting the figures. Obi-Wan, Vader, having a fight on a table or something, acting like it's a volcano. Or I can actually remember having my Obi-Wan talk to my Luke about the fight one time. None of the things that sound exciting. But curious about you guys. Did you know about the fight between the two? Did you play it out in your head? Did you picture it in your head? Did you think it was going to be on top of like the real classic look of a volcano like I did? One time, my brother was talking. I remember it was like we were standing on the edge of fighting, and maybe the volcano erupts, you know, and burns both of them, or at least just burns over Anakin, knocks him off the volcano or something. Oh, it was really exciting to think of a lightsaber fight on a volcano. Now, of course, we got a lava planet, but I still kind of miss the planned volcano fight. I think that would have been awesome, right on the edge of that volcano, and they fall down into it. It just seems so awesome to me as a kid. Anyway, let me know how you thought about the fight scene, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you grew up on the prequels and you didn't have to think about it. Maybe you didn't have to lay in your bed with your Star Wars Empire Strikes Back bed sheets and dream of that volcano fight you heard so much about. Let me know that, or whatever else you want me to know in the comments below. This is Junkman Nooner. Don't forget the 3 AM reaction video is up, and we'll be back later for another longer video. Thanks for watching.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.